6771 and 0705 149 3324. For SMS and WhatsApp only, send to 0705 864 2473. Once again, for WhatsApp and SMS only, send to 0705 864 2473. Please turn down the volume of your radio set when you get through to us to avoid a holdback. Make your contributions short and straight to the point so that our guest can respond adequately. So, straight to the business of the day. One of the strategic ingredients in achieving the economic diversification policy of the current administration is agriculture. Mr. Kwasari, or Dr. Kwasari rather, how much has been achieved so far?
Well, as you see, you rightly said, sir, that the federal government is serious about diversifying the economy through agriculture. A lot has been recorded, particularly if you look at the rice revolution that has happened during this administration and other various value chains or commodities that have been developed. You have also must have noticed the increase in our production of maize and soybean and all of that. However, a lot has been achieved, but then we have to also look at what COVID-19 has done to all of this effort and what government is doing to respond to this challenge. So I will say that we are steadily on the march forward from the work started by the first outing of the current administration from 2015 to build on what was done during the agricultural transformation agenda of the then administration. I think this administration has been consistent to make sure that diversification through agriculture happens.
Okay, let's even look at some specific programs under the agricultural policy of government for Nigerians to benefit, with particular reference to the AGCA Borrowers program. How has been the response and what has been achieved in this area particularly?
I will say that the ANCO borrower has many components. So there are components that is dealing with the association ANCO working with the cooperatives, and it's receiving a response. Then there is the prime ANCO working with the private sector people, and that also is receiving a lot of interest from the people. Everything that we do as an administration has some, we also listen and take note of the challenges, and some of the challenges are being addressed, and course correction happens as we move on. But I can tell you that the ANCO borrower has done a lot to promote how agriculture is financed, in particular in this country.
Okay, one critical component of the nation's socio-economic drive is gender and youth inclusion. How much acceptance have these set for the targets, that's those who are being focused?
All of all of the government programs are gender sensitive, and I can tell you that there are so many. None of the programs have any gender insensitivity. So in all of it, if you look at today, Nigerian agriculture in particular has organized herself to reflect gender and youth perspectives. So we have things like smallholder women groups. We also have ideas around youth in agriculture and various enterprises of young people. And this could be across all of it, including financing agriculture. If you look at the fintechs that are springing up, are all led by young people. And if you look at the organized women across all the commodities, I've met so many women-based organizations. Recently, I received on the back of the Agriculture for Food and Jobs Plan of the COVID-19 intervention, Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan, a group of Nigerian women farmers organization. So this cut across all the commodities. So I think gender mainstreaming is critical, because we will achieve food and nutrition security without paying particular attention to gender and reflecting the women component of it. That is very critical.
Okay. Now, is there any strategy for identifying smallholder farmers and farms, especially as sometimes you find out there are some practices that are unwholesome to reach those who they are meant for and so on. How do you check these practices, and how do you particularly look at the issue of assisting smallholder farmers?
So when you say smallholder farmers, let me tell you, the mainstay of Nigerian agriculture today is the smallholder farmers. And to make sure that they are targeted appropriately, we need to do a few things. And I would like to speak specifically about what the Buhari administration have done under the economic sustainability plan, because this plan came on the back of the COVID-19 and has thrown the nation into a kind of a situation that we must think outside of the box. Identifying smallholder farmers is key. They constitute over 70% of our agricultural productivity. So what has been done so far now is that the administration has earmarked money, and under the leadership of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, the Federal Minister of Agriculture has deployed thousands of young people, and they're in every community. You can verify that every local government trying to register farmers, small or large, but to tie a farmer to his farmland with specific reference, and that will help us identify and to be able to target specifically the smallholder farmers, because the bane of all of the challenges also rests with this community of farmers, the smallholder farmers, because they are scattered, they are everywhere, they have small land holding, they produce, they don't have capacity to get into the mainstream of the market mainstream. So organizing them needs data, and that data is being generated today. So the government is registering farmers, tying them to their farmlands across the 774 local governments as of today.
Let's look at security now. It's a major challenge, especially at the times where herders and farmers were clashing, and there was also an effect with the cost of food supply and other issues like that. Also in the northeast, we had the issue of the insurgency, making farmers worried about going to the farms, which are mostly in the outskirts and so on. How about this area? What efforts are on to see how farmers can comfortably carry out their task?
This is a good question, sir. That the internal security situation, particularly those around banditry, farmer-herder conflict, kidnapping, and all of that, all the criminalities, pose a major threat to agriculture. The federal government, working with the state governments, are doing everything, and in addition now the communities are being brought on board. You remember that the Buhari administration under National Economic Council started the policy on National Livestock Transformation Plan, which also engaged the states with the states what was hit by the farmer-herder conflict. That engagement with the stakeholders at the state level have given birth or has given impetus to the move by federal government, particularly under the community policing, specifically the logics of community policing, by just involving the communities that you are stakeholders. So A, there is the military approach to it. B, there is the community approach to see how we can douse this insecurity. But you know that the insecurity component also have religious, have political, and all the other coloration. But I think all the concerned leadership, from Mr. President to the state governors, all hands are on deck to make sure we deal with this. But let me say to you, sir, that data has revealed that the Nigerian farmers are hopeful, even with this insecurity, that the efforts of government will one day pay dividends where they can go back to their farms in peace. And why do I say data has shown? The farmer registration we are doing today, you will be surprised that the states leading in number of farmers registered are in some of these states that are worse hit with this insecurity. If you look at, despite the challenges, farmers go out to their farms, they are captured and they are enumerated. If you look at Katsina State, Katsina and Kaduna have on record today over 350,000 farmers registered under this economic sustainability plan driven by Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Sir, these people go out despite the insecurity to get registered, to get their farmlands mapped. That means they are hopeful. That means they have hope in what government is doing. They have hope that one day there will be security and they can all go back and cultivate and farm their lands as they used to do. So I think with the community buy-in and hope, we must all keep all hands on deck. Nigerians have to unite, particularly, sir, we need to unite where this conflict is hinged on political or cultural or ethnic or religious differences. This we can solve. This doesn't need bullets and guns. We can solve it through dialogue. We can solve it through agreeing that this is a problem for this country. The ones that have to do with criminalities, kidnappers, bandits, and all of this, the military should be left to deal with that heads on, the way Mr. President has directed. But I think the community involvement to solve the larger component of this insecurity, hinged on religious, ethnic, political differences, we can galvanize the country because the people are hopeful. The ordinary farmers want peace and they want to go back to their farmlands.
All right. Now, at some point, every farmer wants to move up the ladder and get to even large-scale farming and make more money and also contribute further to the economy. How soon do we hope to see our smallholder farmers to now become mechanized, to have harvesters, planters, tractors, tillers, and so on, to even employ more hands and so on? What is the hope?
This is very important. This is a good question. And so let me tell you, sir, where every country must think through her own strategy. The strategy we need to adopt as a country is, first and foremost, the upscale movement to large holding is not an antithesis to our development as a people. It's not against our development. But the first thing we need to do strategically is, how do we do four things to the 70% and counting holders or owners of agriculture in Nigeria today, the smallholder farmers? What's the difference between a smallholder farmer and a large-scale commercial farmer? Really, sir, if you ask me, for us as a country, the smallholder farming is where we need to do four things. One, we need to be able to increase the yield per square meter. It's not how large the size of the farmland is. It's increasing the yield. Once we can increase the yield per square meter of land, it will give more income. That translates to more yield per hectare. To do that, sir, we need to make sure that there is strategic support in terms of extension, advisory and demonstration work targeting smallholder farmers. We need to immediately remove post-harvest waste and losses, particularly where we have 70% and counting losses on some commodities that are being farmed by smallholder farmers. There is no other magic to remove post-harvest loss than linking what the smallholder farmers produce to market. Therefore, we create production to demand linkage. And this we can do easily in this country. That will save more money to the smallholder farmers. And thirdly, sir, we need to connect the smallholder farmers to funding. And to connect them to funding, we need to cap it. The fourth thing, we need data of the smallholder farmers. Where are they? Imagine what the federal government have started. Today we have registered in excess of 5 million farmers. Nationwide. Imagine if, moving forward with this database, federal government with state government strategically plan an upward move in income to the households that are involved in this smallholder farming today, by removing the losses, by increasing their yields, and tying all of this into the demand or the demand in the urban areas. We will achieve the same thing that would have happened on a large-scale organized corporate farming. In addition, sir, we will achieve what we wouldn't have gotten from the commercial large-scale farming, that we will remove from poverty the millions of households that are tied to smallholder farming today. By steadily increasing the income per square meter per hectare of land, we will get these people out of poverty. Now, this purchasing power given to these people through this organization on the back of data will now place on people that have better business organization to buy out and to increase their land holding and all of that. So gradually, The children of these poor peasant farmers today, who are able to go to school because there is additional income in the family, may not come back to subsistence. They will go to other services or organized private sector and all of this. So gradually land will be organized by other people that can manage more. So I think I want us to find a systematic way with no poor farmer left behind by doing few things. Government has started it. Farmer enumeration, creating this database across the states, which federal government says also, because we are working with the state supervisors, to share this data with every state governor, to say this is the data of your farmers. Now planning will be done to see how do we migrate, even if we stop today, these 5 million registered farmers, how do we set a 2-3 years upward movement in their income by increasing their yield, by making sure there is no post-harvest losses, tying it to demand, by working through the organized private sector that we are already doing under the economic sustainability plan, and all of this. And sir, this work has to be done by federal government. And what I like most about this is that up to today, the Federal Minister of Agriculture, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister, has paid only the first 10 days of the work the young people are doing in enumerating this data. But that has not dampened the spirit of these young people. They are registering farmers today everywhere. And thank God that the government has secured all of their funding under the amended budget 2020, and they will be paid. And once they are paid, you imagine what we can use that data to do, to plan yield enhancement, plan post-harvest loss mitigation, plan linkage to market, plan financing, where today we solve another big issue, non-performing loans to smallholder farmers. With this data, we know that only real farmers tied to a piece of land or a place for their livestock production get funded. So this, for me, the COVID-19 has shaken the polity to the extent that government has used this opportunity to aggressively lay the foundation for migrating the smallholder farmers from poverty to level of livelihood that can let them live with dignity. Secondly, we will see migration also from smallholder farming to large-scale farming, because we are creating change from within, and expertise and entrepreneurial spirit will lead the day.
Now, many Nigerians are commending the present administration for looking at the issue of rice importation, and so far Nigeria has been able to surmount that challenge. However, some Nigerians still feel that the cost of rice in the market seems to still be high. How soon do we expect that cost to drop? Because we produce it here in our country.
Let me tell you one thing, sir. One of the key things that came out from the analysis, rapid analysis done by the Economic Sustainability Plan in crafting the Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan for the agri sector, was that we have foreseen that there will be a lot of disruption, and we need to do something to make sure that we correct this. So the rising prices of rice today is not unconnected with the anticipation, the global anticipation that the prices of food will change on the back of COVID-19. And in our analysis, we have created the scenario that says one or three things might happen. A, global food supply system will be hit hard by the COVID-19, and nations would prioritize food security over trade or supply chain business, as food supply chain as it occurs prior to COVID-19. B is that even if Nigeria wishes to import, there may COVID-19 also, with the consequence of it on oil prices, will limit our capacity to do that. And besides that, we also anticipated in the beginning of this COVID-19, there was complete lockdown, even on movement of inputs and all of this. So everybody is apprehensive, the millers are apprehensive that there is need to quickly make sure that they buy whatever they can buy, and they anticipate such shortages here and there. So these have conditioned this issue around prices that are increasing. But I can tell you, COVID-19 came at the worst time for us as a country, because take for instance, it was March, April that we woke up to this reality as a country. So at this March, April would have been the best month to plan for the production of this year. Regardless, government has done everything to make sure we turn out the plan on how to support at least 2.4 million households to produce food locally. This all put together creates the uncertainty, but I can tell Nigerians that with what the administration is doing, we will come out of it, and that the prices of this food will begin to come down. And if you look at it, sir, historically, the months of July and August, we've always had higher food prices, because these are the times also that everything is growing, nothing is being harvested and all that. So I am not very worried about the current spike. What will concern me is that when we begin to see the harvest coming in from November, whether we are able to begin to stabilize and turn down this price increases. But this is to tell Nigerians that the farmers are out there, they are doing their bit, federal government is doing her bit, but I can assure Nigerians it will only get better, particularly with this database of farmers. Planning and targeting of farmers to increase productivity and to mitigate losses that will directly reflect on prices of food. Because if you can get all that is harvested into the market, if the supply meets up with the demand, then we will see prices come down. And we are doing everything to make sure that the ecosystem is organized, and we need data. And federal government has taken the first right step. Get the data, requisite data, representative data across 774 local governments of the farming population.
All right. If you're just joining us, the program is Have Your Say, coming to you live on the network service of Radio Nigeria. And today we've been speaking with the Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on agriculture, that is Dr. Andrew Kwasari, who is speaking on the giant strides of the present administration in repositioning the sector. After the break, we'll be opening the phone lines so that Nigerians can be part of the conversation. The lines to call are 0807 622 6771 and 0705 149 3324. The lines again, 0807 622 6771 and 0705 149 3324. We'll go for a short break. We'll be right back.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Let's have some peace. Nigerians are peace-loving and hard-working people.
And countries only develop and grow when there is peace and stability.
There are different kinds of problems in every society, and so in every country.
If there are problems here, Nigeria is not an exception.
There is no society, no country where violence and public disorder has solved that problem.
No matter the problem, no matter the issue.
Let us sit down like brothers and sisters. Use dialogue to resolve the problems.
Remember, you have to give account of every action you take, if not here on earth, then before your creator.
Please let us work
together for a peaceful Nigeria.
Let us work together. Nigeria will be great.
Fellow Nigerians, follow the instructions on social distancing. The irresponsibility of the few can lead to the death of many. Your freedom ends where other people's rights begin. This is not a joke. It is a matter of life and death.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Yes, indeed. If you're just joining us, the program is Have Your Say, coming to you live on the network service of Radio Nigeria. And we've been discussing, like we said earlier, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agriculture, in person of Dr. Andrew Kwasari. Now, it's now time for us to take phone calls from Nigerians. The lines are open. We have our first caller. Good morning. Hello?
Good morning.
Oh, yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
This is Bishop Bishop.
Yes, Bishop Isong. Good.
This is Bishop Bishop from Sabuguda and District.
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you. Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead.
This is senior special advisor to the president on agric.
Thank you. I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
I think it is a very laudable program we have on board there. I think my only take on the matter is that they should really talk of mechanized farming. This issue of cutlass and wool, it does not favor us at all. That is in the early days. Modern times now, we talk of mechanized farming. And again, we talk of this issue of farmers' header scratch. Here in those states, we do not talk of farmers' header scratch. What we talk of is headers. We are using the cows to destroy the farmers' crops. And I think the federal government should really take action on that. Let the Secretary of Police give order to all the commissioners of police that any headsman whose cows destroy any farmers' crops, that headsman should be made to pay for the crop destroyed, so that at least many of us will be encouraged into going into farming. And then I think we need silos so that we can preserve the food we produce. So in as much as we continuously produce food without having the storage facility, it will not go well for us.
All right,
Thank you. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much. The special advisor wants to respond immediately. Then we'll take the next call.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Yes, this is very important. No, let me take this, please. This is very important because the bishop, you raised a fundamental question, mechanization. And let me use this opportunity to tell Nigerians that you must have read in the past 4 years, the Buhari administration spent the time to design the mechanization program where the government, Federal Executive Council in May approved the borrowing of $1.2 billion from Brazilian government, from government to government in kind, in order to support mechanization. That program actively now is before the National Assembly for approval of the borrowing plan, which even yesterday we had meetings on it, to make sure that in every local government there is an entrepreneur who will be equipped with in-kind loan to sell mechanization services to smallholder farmers and large-scale farmers across the local government. This is, for me, the strides of this administration. This plan, called the Green Imperative, will revolutionize the whole of the agricultural and remove the hoe and cutlass that the gentleman bishop raised. This is very important, sir, because the time has come, but the time has come where mechanization has to be in line with the capacities of our farmers. 75% of the farmers in Nigeria cannot afford to buy a tractor or a heavy equipment. So what the government has done is to structure this plan where within the vicinities an entrepreneur, a private gentleman, has on lease basis these equipment that can sell services. So the mama needs 1 acre to be plowed, immediately she can get it. Needs 1 acre to be harvested, appropriate technology is brought in that can harvest 1 acre. So this is being done, and this plan will be fiscally on ground before the end of this year. Okay. So I can tell you that this is very important. That's why I wanted to take up that question, so that Nigerians can know what is being planned, and that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, led by the minister, has also planned sensitization once we have full opening of the economy across the states, to tell farmers and entrepreneurs how to key into this plan.
Okay, we still have so many trying to get across. I think I heard the voice of Chief Jude Waja. Am I correct? Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah. My name of course is Chief Jude Waja. I come from this in Imo State.
Okay.
Diversification program, especially through massive investment in agriculture, remains a sine qua non for actually improving our economy, already adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic that is ravaging the whole world, Nigeria inclusive. There is no doubt that we cannot get it right in this sector to put food on the table of every Nigerian and improve our economy if we do not mechanize our agriculture to produce food in abundance together with establishing agro-land industry that can use them as raw material to produce finished products in abundance for domestic and export purposes and generate enough revenue that can be used to grow our economy. I therefore enjoin the federal government to take seriously this mechanization of our agriculture and encourage joining farmers with bones, with longer period of moratorium, together with provision of farm inputs like fertilizer, improved seedlings, fungicides, herbicides, and others to realize bumper harvest and make agriculture attractive to our youth, that would even encourage them to form cooperative combines to access loans from even financial institutions to produce food in abundance for export and domestic purposes that will grow our economy to an unprecedented level. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you, Chief Jude Bwaja. Thank you so much.
Hello?
Hello, yes, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. We can hear you. Your name and location.
You said?
Your name and location, and then go ahead. We can hear you.
My name is Fiase Mutum.
Fiase Mutum. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm calling from the full basket of the nation.
Benue State. Okay.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning to you. I think I appreciate him so much. I want to say that this program is timely. I haven't seen the efforts of the federal government in the diversification to agriculture. But I am most concerned about the agricultural training officers, which you all just highlighted. You said they are all over the states trying to capture the data for people who have farms and what they want to do. And I am so surprised why, if that is being done, and then this some of the agricultural training centers are comatose. Where do they train them to go to the field and work? Aside from that, I've always made a case of agricultural training center in Boruku local government, my local government here, which is comatose for over decades, and nothing has been done to that. And I wonder where some of these agricultural training officers have been trained and deployed to go to the field. It doesn't mean that they were trained in Abuja or where. It's really sort of concern for some of us who are so interested in maize development in agriculture.
Okay, Fiase,
so I would love your guest to explain so much on that.
Right.
And then we should dwell so much on because the farmers are not in tune with the trending technology. Let me not lie to you. So if farmers are not in tune with the trending technology, like now, if farmers were well trained and were told of the trending in agriculture, like now we have the break the rainy season. If they were given varieties that could cope with this weather now, we wouldn't have been complaining. But they have never been trained. We only hear all these things that they have been taken to the field and all of that. So
thank you, Thank you so much. Hello, let's take one more call. Hello,
good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name and location, and go ahead.
Yeah, this is Ibrahim calling from Dara.
Dara, Katsina State. Hello.
Are you with me?
Yes, go ahead. All the same. Ibrahim is
from Dara. Please, I want to ask the special advisor to the president on agriculture. Do you know that there is no way that this administration can be successful when this healthcare issue is still going on with farmers? What is the president saying about the healthcare issue with the farmers? So we have to handle this issue serious before we can go into any longer harvest of agriculture. The healthcare issue is becoming a pandemic more than the COVID-19 today. So please let me address that issue, and then we can come up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibrahim Isa. Thank you. Yes, just one more. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Daniel.
Yes, good morning.
It's Adaono calling from Jos. Hello.
Yes, we can.
Hello.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay, now I want to align myself with what the last caller said. You see, it's not a question of mechanized farming or subsistence farming or collecting data of the farmers. When you say collecting, what next? They cannot go to the farm because of insecurity. And I thought this administration came up with this ranching thing or whatever I thought, what was they called it, you know? let them launch cattle. This idea of saying this cattle are going to somebody's farm and eat up the crops, you make them kill this and that. That will even further more violence. So I think the best thing to do is to ban open grazing. Let them have the political will and ban it, and then let them embrace ranching. Do it in such a way that they can now do those ranches and then make the farmers pay those that cannot afford to have one because it's capital intensive. But this idea of shying away from the issue and each time you say it's headed farmer classes, it's unacceptable because it's an attack. Then again, another thing again is maize. Yes, on economic policies we take, I begin to wonder. Now we are banning maize, we don't have enough here. And then there's no other substitute for bread seed except that maize. So now the prices have gone up. Even though it's bad, I'm very sure smugglers will still have a field day. And then poultry farmers, some of them who can cook, will start winding up, and that will lead to further unemployment. Then our currency, I have never seen it. Maybe your guest will tell us which country where every time the currency is not stable, it's always depreciating. Let them do something about it. It's becoming ridiculous, honestly speaking. Then our crops, we don't give value to them. It's actually industry very close to those places that produce those things, like yam, cocoa, and tomatoes, and cassava. You know, they have the processing industries that will now give the value to those things, and that will provide employment for the senior unemployed youth. That's the way to go. That's the idea. Let's not give up on this country. It shall be well sometime someday.
Amen to that prayer. Thank you very much. Before you respond, Dr. Andrew Kwasari, let's just take our social media messages very quickly because we're running fast out of time. Our first contributor says, is Mustafa here in Abuja. It says, kudos to VP Oshibajo and the members of the Economic Sustainability Committee for working on plans towards finding ways across non-oil sectors to recover our economy during the post-COVID-19. Kindly shed more light on economic sustainability plan, agriculture component that was launched in Puntua, Katsina State, and which state is next online. Okay, I think that's what we have so far. Yes, over to you now.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you our listeners for the questions. So let me categorize the questions as they came in, but I will take majority of the questions centered around insecurity, post-harvest, farmer header clashes, and all of this. So please,
institutions.
Yes, no, that is a different. I want to take them in three components. So let me deal with the farmer header conflict components of this. Isa from Daura, you are very spot on by your question that says what is the administration doing on the farmer headers conflict, and that you said it's worse than the COVID-19 pandemic. I agree with you. But sir, I want you also to recall that this administration in 2019, having spent over a year consulting with the state governors, developed a 10-year plan, the National Livestock Transformation Plan, which Mr. President has given his full backing, and work had commenced in earnest in Gombe, Adamawa, Nasarawa, Plateau, Taraba, Benue, before the COVID-19 lockdown. So work has commenced in earnest, and the administration has agreed, and we have started work with the state governors. First and foremost, the National Livestock Transformation Plan was a product of the National Economic Council with all of the 36 governors in order to tackle the local content of the farmer header conflict. In line with also how do we modernize livestock production by making sure that our pastoralists are taught how to domesticate the new practices of keeping the livestock in one location. After we analyze all of the driving factors of the farmer header conflict, and again, as I said in my opening speech, the ones that we put together as the political, the religious, and the ethnic factor in one basket, then face the resource component, and the pastoralists move around in search of feed and water. So we said the first thing the plan must do is to look at the available land which are in these degraded grazing reserves scattered across all the 19 northern states, including the person that asked concerning Edo State. How do we deal with these lands to teach our pastoralists how to grow pasture, how to conserve water, so that they don't go in search of this that will take them into conflict with their neighbors? And with that will come the next phase of the plan to improve the breed of our local cattle to give us that requisite milk and beef. So the plan is very strategic. The plan thinks that first thing first, we need to secure feed and water for the pastoralists. We need to secure, and by doing so, we keep the cattle in one location, separating them from the farmers. But concurrently also develop the crop farming within the area, such that the post-harvest residues can be used as feed for livestock. So that we see the symbiosis between the crop farmers and the livestock farmers that has always existed in this country. Restoring that is critical. So when COVID-19 came, we had to pause on going out to meet. But I can tell you, sir, this administration had enumerated the residents, mapped out land in excess of 300,000 hectares from these key states, and started conversing with the state governors so that we can begin demonstration in this 2020 of the National Livestock Transformation Plan. So that plan is still on, and government is doing everything. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development is on top of it, and we will make sure that we find solution to the productive and resource component of this conflict, while the communities, the leadership of religious and political will work to solve the ethnic, religious, and political constraints, and the military will deal with the criminals and the foreign headers that cause all of this, that add to this injury or solve to this injury. Let me move quickly to the issue of the training. My gentleman from Imo State, not Imo. Yes,
State?
yes, from the Agri Training Center in relation to the enumeration ongoing. Sir, the young people today that are helping us to enumerate farmers and to tie farmers to their farmland have received adequate training on using the devices, the digital devices. First of all, they are all graduates of the Empower program of this administration, those in batch A and batch B of the Empower. Those people are not extension workers as of today, but they are good because they have technologies, they have devices, and we developed an app through which they were trained online. And all of this was done during this COVID. We didn't have any physical contact with them. They were trained online. So the work they are doing is not, they are not trained to go and advise farmers. They are trained to identify a farmer. You stand on your farmland, they take your photo, they take the coordinates of your farm, and the app calculates the total area of your land. And we have that documented against your name so that planning can be done with specific data. In addition, sir, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, have said he plans to convert 75,000 of these young people who are out there doing this exercise to send them to the training institutions like the one you mentioned. So there is an active plan from the Honorable Minister and the Director Extension and all of the directors and the Permanent Secretary to take, after this enumeration of farmers, these young people to receive adequate training in the so-called comatose training institution. So based on their states where they are, they will be sent to this training institution, and then you will certify them to become extension workers. 75,000 of them will benefit from that, and this plan is all also part of the job creation under the COVID-19.
There's 75,000
yes, 75,000 young people who are involved in this Empower Agro, who are currently enumerating farmers. But the skills they have now is to enumerate farmers, and they have the devices and the skills. So the last comment around prices of food, I think we've dealt with, and then the issue of maize prices and the currency devaluation and all of that. I think the only one I've not dealt with is for the gentleman from Funtua about, no, from Abuja, about the agriculture for food and jobs plan, what is, I should shed more light on what was launched in Funtua.
Yes,
I want to thank you that this plan, as crafted under this emergency economic sustainability plan, has the plan from for within 12 months to reach out to 2.4 million households, equivalent to 2.4 million hectares of land, to support them with resources in kind, that is input financing, in order to grow food, and also tie them to off-takers in order to remove post-harvest losses, as the other gentleman talked about post-harvest losses, which is key. So the launching in Funtua is the global launching, sir. It has just a ceremony to say federal government of Nigeria have launched this plan. So it's a global launch. It represents the whole of the program, and it was launched with about 1.2 million beneficiary farmers who have been enumerated by the enumerators in the field. They've been mapped to their land, and we have placed them under our platform partners who are outgrower scheme farmers. So what I will tell you, the next step is we are continuing to clean the data, and we started preparation for the dry season, and to make sure that, God willing, by next wet season we can target in excess of 5 million farmers.
Oh, that would be great. Now let's take a few messages, then we'll take more calls and come back to our guest. Well, we have, yes, from our social media platform, we have Aliyu from our Twitter handle. He says, I am a field enumerator with FMARD Pays. As a matter of fact, this project has been greatly welcomed by farmers across Nigeria. What are you doing to rebuild the connection between the government and local farmers, as there's wide gap of communication? Then, okay, I'm sure you've noted that wide gap of communication. Mohammed Sani Mohammed, he says our Twitter handle is asking, from our Twitter handle, he says, what exactly is the date that enumerators get their labor? Maybe he's talking of payment now.
Okay.
And then, when did farmers get their input?
Okay.
So that's what we have so far.
Okay, thank you. Let me quickly respond to this, if that's all we have.
Yes,
First and foremost, thank you, the enumerator. Can you roll up, please? The enumerator from which state is that now? I don't know where.
Did not
But I'm talking of
indicate.
Aliyu. Aliyu, thank you. And that is the joy of it, Aliyu. You are out there as an enumerator under the Empower program of this administration. And you have identified that there is disconnect between local farmers and what happens at the government level. This gap in communication will be addressed by what the Federal Minister of Agriculture is planning to do. And I hope, Aliyu, you will be one of the beneficiaries of the 75,000 extension young people that they will take to train, so that firsthand, through this enumeration of farmers, you have seen the gap. Then when you get trained as an extension agent, you will really know how to work in your community and make sure that this communication gap is solved. And also this will remove particular communication gap, Aliyu, that you have not mentioned, which we've heard from the field, is where the so-called farmers that benefit from most of the programs are political farmers, and not farmers that have that actually work on the land. So you will help us with that. When exactly will be the date when the enumerators will get their label? Muhammad Sani Muhammad, thank you for your question. You know, Muhammad, that we have paid the first tranche, and I can tell you that the second tranche has been prepared up to the end of June, and the money has been secured under the budget 2020, and therefore the Federal Ministry of Agriculture will pay very soon. I can't give an exact date, but the release is being anticipated from Accountant General's office, and once the Ministry of Agriculture receives the request, which is in excess of 200 million that federal government owes you now, enumerators, up to the end of June, you will receive your payment just as you received the first tranche. And the farmers, when will they get input? So what we have done under the Agriculture for Food and Jobs plan that is developed as the COVID-19 Economic Sustainability Plan, we have categorized batch A farmers, about 1.2 million of them.
Okay,
and
based
those,
on
yes, based on the
batches,
data, yes.
Okay.
So batch A, sir, has been sent to central bank since 14th of July, and we are working on that with the platform partners that are accompanying the farmers. So we hope that batch A will benefit.
Go ahead.
Okay, so basically, the farmers for batch A should be getting their input, and I know that the National Sovereign Investment Authority, we are working with them to get the available fertilizer, and the private traders in fertilizer to make sure that we deliver this to batch A farmers.
Okay. Let's just take a few more calls, maybe one or two, before we go, because we're running out of time. Hello, your name and location, please. Hello, we can hear you. Just go ahead. Hello, you have a minute.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please. Just go ahead, please. Hello, can you hear us? Okay. Since we're still having to establish connectivity with you, we might take a few more questions. Okay, good. I think our caller is ready now. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, no, yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, my name is Jude Sevi. I'm calling from Benue State.
Jude, okay, Jude from Benue State. Go ahead. You have a minute.
Yes. I want to appreciate the special advisor to the president. What I want to say is the issue of subsidy. The federal government says we should diversify the economy from oil to agriculture. Now, why not the federal government say subsidy, make the subsidy on agricultural input? I'm talking about herbicides and other input. Because right now, the cost of herbicides are very high. Not every farmer can afford that. So please, the federal government should try and do something about it.
Okay.
And the issue of herdsmen attack, the federal government should also address the issue of herdsmen, because a dead man cannot go to the farm. You cannot go to the farm with your working tools and farmers coming to attack you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you so much. I don't know if he's been listening, but you've spoken many times on that. But please go ahead and make that also your closing contribution.
Thank you very much, Jude. Thank you for the discussion around subsidy. What government has done, input subsidy to be specific. This administration have planned under the COVID-19 that all the loans that will go out to the smallholder farmers through central bank should carry no interest. So it's a kind of how do we meet up with the farmers, provide them with funding that will come in kind in form of inputs, and then they only pay back the principal through the partners with whom, under whom we are putting them. And these partners are well known to have organized outgrower and linkage to market. We are talking about Afex, Thrive Agri, Babangona, Oxfam, to mention but a few, Farm Crowdy and all of them.
So these are groups?
Yes, these are groups. These are platforms under which the government will be working to make sure that the inputs funding is going out at zero interest. So federal government has subsidized the inputs by taking the interest component to pay on behalf of farmers, the 5% interest component to be paid on behalf of the farmers. And this is across all inputs, please, not only fertilizers and pesticides, including improved seeds and even extension services and farmer organization, post-harvest management and buyback. All of this, the total interest is being paid by federal government, and the federal government has made this allocation in the budget 2020. So this is going forward. My last word to Nigeria.
Yes, you can add this to your last word. COVID-19 challenge, agricultural sector. What do we expect to see? The new norm.
Yes, I thank you, sir. The COVID-19 challenge is a pandemic now. So it's also an economic pandemic. So agriculture is an economic component of the country, and it will take its own fair hit. It has already taken by the delay in moving inputs and all of that at the beginning when the lockdown was hard. But I can say on agriculture, it will be minimal if we continue driving Mr. President's vision through the economic sustainability plan and making sure that this work that the young people are doing out there, the farmers benefit between this wet season, the dry season 2020 and wet season 2021. So I think if we keep this drive, we will minimize the impact of COVID-19 on our farmers. And since our farmers are out in the field, I hope that they are not crowded and there will be less infection in the farmers. Right. My last word, please. I want to thank Nigeria, thank FRCN. I want to tell you to keep faith with the Buhari administration. that there's so much that needs to be done. I want you to continue to thank the leadership of the Vice President with the Economic Sustainability Plan, the leadership of my Minister, Honorable Minister Sabona Nunu, for the leadership of the Ministry of Agriculture, his PS and his directors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Andrew. You're making me feel like dropping this microphone and go into farming. But maybe I'll do that in the future as time goes on. Thank you so much for making today's production a success. That was the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agriculture, Dr. Andrew Kwasari, on the strides in the agricultural sector and amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. We wish to thank the production crew. Our news producers were Conrad Labe and Hassan Hussein. Online editors was Muja Kusha. ICT was handled by Israel Tiokaha. Our studio manager was Prince Afonia Ugweze. Our engineer was Hassan Usman. Photographers Sadiq Saromi. Camera was handled by Fuluwa Oluede and Chinedu Mmegwa. Our facilitator Oluwada Milolaoni. The producer was Oledo Mbiwe and the executive producer Sani Suleiman. Special thanks to the Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Dr. Mansour Liman. Join us next week for another edition of the program. Have your say. I am Olayemi Daniel asking you to stay safe. COVID-19 is real. Goodbye and be kajat.
I'm still asking questions on Twitter.
So we have two picture sessions, one here with the Radio Nigeria logo and then one of the